guys, it is Faith First Farm, and we are back. Make sure you make it to where you guys can see our little kitty. Lost Ways. No, I'm not going to stop on the other book, but I want to start getting this one out there too. I already did the intro video on this. Alright, let me see. I'll read the disclaimer. This book is designed only to provide information. This information is provided and sold with the knowledge that the publisher, editor, and authors do not offer any legal or other professional advice. In the case of a need for any such expertise, consult with the appropriate professional. This book does not contain all information available on the subject. This book has not been created to be specific to any individual's or organization's situation or needs. Every effort has been made to make this book as accurate as possible. However, there may be typographical and/or content errors. Therefore, this book should serve only as a general guide and not as the ultimate source of subject information. And again, that's where do your research. Do your research, you guys. It's important. The author's editor and publisher shall have no liability or responsibility to any person or entity regarding any loss or damage incurred or alleged to have incurred, directly or indirectly, by the information contained in this book. You hereby agree to be bound by this disclaimer, or you may return this book within guaranteed time period for a full refund. Some products described in this book do not comply with FDA, USDA, or FSIS regulations or local health codes. Dehydrating meat products does not reduce the health risks associated with meat contaminated with Salmonella or E. coli. 0157H7. The instructions provided have not been reviewed, tested, or approved by any official testing body or government agency. Gee, I wonder why. The authors and editor of this book make no warranty of any kind, expressed or implied, regarding the safety of the final products or the methods used. The use, making, or consumption of any products described in this book will be done at your own risk. Some names and identifying details have been changed to protect the privacy of individuals. Felt I needed to read that, because that's, yeah, you guys get it. At least I think you do. Alright, you guys, and like I said, I already did an introduction video on this. So, I don't know if I want to read this part, or he's so cute. Yeah, okay, so I actually try to do this. Okay, so that's going to be a separate video. Alright, so I will just read the beginning of this then. This is called The Most Important Thing. My parents were pretty old when I was born, and my Nana and Granddad were born in the latter half of the 19th century. Consequently, I grew up old-fashioned. I did too. The tales my parents and grandparents told me were of times that were very different. They told me of a time when you made the most of what you had, no matter how little that was. My mother would tell me of how it was common for richer families to pass down clothes to those poorer children in the community, and the children were thrilled with their new clothes. My younger brother and I would come home from school to my grandparents' house, where we'd be fed soup made using the previous day's leftovers and bones the butcher was throwing out. It was the best soup I have ever tasted. My parents and grandparents were not only from a different age, but also from a different philosophy. Here we are, human beings in the 21st century, several lifetimes in a world away from our grandparents and their ways. Have we become better at living? Has modern technology given us a better world to live in than our grandparents had? I think not. I watch as we become ever more expectant that the world owes us a living. Consumerism has reached epic proportions. People feel aggrieved if they don't own the latest gadget and struggle to cope without the internet, unable to entertain themselves. Yeah. I find it ironic that we talk about the internet connecting the world. The Internet of Things, or the lot as it is known, or the what? The IoT? Okay. It's the latest buzzword where the excitement reveal levels about interconnectivity between human operators and devices are at dizzying levels. The truth is we have never been so disconnected from life, from the world, from the soil, from the trees and other animals, and from our souls. We have lost the power to look after our loved ones and ourselves. We are so reliant on others, our often faceless corporations, to address our every waking need that many of us can barely cook a decent meal. We resort to takeout and frozen meals. Our health, both mental and physical, is suffering too because of our childlike dependence on others. Unfortunately, that's true. Humans need to connect again. Connect to each other and connect to our world. We need to learn the skills of our grandparents, skills that allowed them and their children to survive wars and famines. One of the most noticeable changes between our grandparents and us is that of our attitudes and expectations. Our grandparents' generation did not have the luxuries we all indulge ourselves in, luxuries that have a finite life as we take more and more from the planet. My Nana did not go out and buy wardrobes full of clothes. She would make her own clothes. She would buy the fabric, often creating her own pattern from existing clothes, cut the material, and sew the outfit. She was an amazing knitter and crocheted for the extended family. If an item of clothing became worn or ripped or a hole opened in a sock, it would be mended, not thrown out. This was long before recycling and upcycling were seen as on trend. This wasn't recycling. This was an expected way of doing things. My granddad grew fruit and vegetables and fished in the river. Without those home-produced foods, my mother and her siblings would not have eaten so well. He'd also barter and swap various items for meat, which was a treat for the family, rather than a daily expectation as meat is now. Home medicine was common. You simply couldn't afford to see the doctor, and so various folk medicine recipes were used for general illnesses and injuries. Medicines like poultices and various teas were used to treat everything from minor cuts to stomach pains. As our antibiotics stopped working, we may find these home remedies useful again. These skills were passed down. My mother, in turn, was taught from early childhood to sew and knit, making it her living. As she grew into adulthood, the recipes for folk medicines in which berries were okay to eat were learned from childhood, and children really could fend for themselves. We need to find that part of ourselves again, that willingness to stand up for ourselves and our family and say, I'll look after you. I don't need things that don't help me survive, and I don't need objects for the sake of having them. I do need strength and health and happiness and companionship. I do need the knowledge that my grandparents had to make, do, and mend. To cook and grow, build and learn, to produce but know when to stop producing. To have enough but not too much. As a species, we are reaching a tipping point. There are 7 billion of us on this small blue planet, with around 1 million more people being added every 4.8 days. Our world is changing, and we have entered an era termed as Anthropocene, where the planetary conditions in the wilderness are being profoundly changed by human beings. We may well find that in the coming years, those old skills used by our grandparents suddenly become needed again. The next major crisis, EMP, war, or any major disaster that you can think of will teach us the hard way. And we're getting very close to that. Many of us will die because so many of us are so detached from the real life. We will find ourselves needing to replace social media with community spirit, and instead of buying objects and clothes we don't need, We will develop the make, do, and mend attitude of our long-gone relatives. We will embrace their lifestyle again and revel in the abilities we still have as human beings to live our lives using our own hands and minds and bodies, to be explorers again in a world and not in our world and not passive users of it. I may have been brought up old-fashioned, but those of us with the skills to grow our own food, treat our own wounds, and build our own houses, in fact, those of us living a more conscious lifestyle, will reap those benefits in a world where the future is a very uncertain one. And that was the most important thing in the very beginning of The Lost Ways. So, I will go ahead and get off from here, and I will get this uploaded. I'll probably upload this one first, because this one's not going to take as long. Yeah, I think I'll just do these two tonight. Because in the other book, The Self-Sufficient Backyard, we are on chapter 2. So I stopped at a good place on that one, and there's going to be several videos out of that one. So, and I haven't exactly decided what. I don't know. Anyway, but I'm going to get off from here, and I'll get this one uploaded first. And remember, do your research, you guys. Check your subscriptions. Welcome new subscribers. And I'm going to work on those new subscriber packages. You guys are going to need to talk to me. T-shirt and a mug. And I will start getting the mugs. And I do have paints I can use. So, you guys are going to have to start leaving comments. I really want to get to know my subscribers. We have 176. I would love to see 176 comments from everybody. From all my subscribers. So, I'm going to get off from here. And always check your subscriptions, you guys. Leave comments. Talk to me. Let me know who you are. Again, I want to send you guys new subscriber packages, and even if you guys have been subscribed for 5 years, I don't care. I'll still send you one. So, anyway, I will talk to you guys in the next video. You guys all have a good night. Remember, do your research, check your subscriptions, and see you on the next one. Faith First Farm and Homestead is out for now. Bye, guys.